Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the West Georgia Report. I'm Zach Kedash. Sitting with me today are Robin Horner, Dom Valley, and Victor Robichaud. The Canucks just lost 4-3 to the Edmonton Oilers. Dom's from Swift Current, Saskatchewan. We're going to bring you our immediate game reactions, do a little league check-in, and then bring you the Spiced Brack. That's what it's called, and we're sticking with it. Let's go. All right, thank you. That was fair warning. So the Canucks just lost 4-3 to McJesus and the Edmonton Oilers. Victor, what are your immediate takeaways?
Exactly that. I mean, sorry guys, I don't know if my internet might be cutting out, so we'll see how this goes. But I thought the Canucks did a good job to start the game of holding McDavid and Draisaitl off. I thought Bo Horvat had a good game, but I mean, you just knew eventually that they were going to break through. And McDavid only had 1 point, but he seemed to be all over the ice whenever he had the puck. You knew he was there. And this is just Canucks hockey. I mean, you got to learn to live with this and love this, and it's tough, but kind of saw this coming.
Yeah, the first half hour or so the play time was just all Canucks, and then once that table kind of turned and the Oilers started to take that momentum back, the end of the second was all Oilers. The third was obviously all Oilers. They scored the last 4 goals. It was just no coming back, and unfortunately they couldn't even hold on like the last couple of games and managed to get 1 point out of it by taking it to overtime. But
yeah, I don't even know who to really blame for this one either. It just seemed like I thought the Canucks were the better team most of the night, except for when the Oilers had their 2 guys out there. So
You
I
said
don't
you
really
saw it
know.
coming. So even at 3-0, you weren't confident at 3-0.
Not at all. Have you watched this team?
Yeah, I've unfortunately been watching.
they've developed a bit of a reputation for losing leads.
Yeah.
And
Well,
games.
I remember last year it was the big thing how Markstrom would always let in the early goal, and that was the big feedback on the Canucks last year was like, oh, we have to play the full 60, like we cannot just screw up right out of the gate because it screws us up for the entire game. And then I wrote down in my notes like, oh my gosh, like it looks like the Canucks are coming out of the gate so strong, like I should talk about this on the podcast, like how they're now playing the full 60, and then they had the collapse in the last period, and I was like, well, guess we're just not playing the last 20 now. So that was a big takeaway for me.
The point in the game that they've been taking off for me that I think has been hurting them is the last 2 minutes of the period. That's been a tough theme the last few games, and happened again tonight. They start so well, play such a good first period. Horvat's really shutting down McDavid. You didn't really see him at all in that first period, and then all of a sudden the last minute and a half is all Oilers, and then again the Canucks come out better in the second period. But again, I thought the reason the Oilers started so well in the third was because they grabbed that momentum again in the final 2. They were in the Canucks zone, just dominating down low, and going into the dressing room, they got to be saying, okay, boys, like we're right in this game. Like we saw we can compete here at the end of that period. Let's keep this momentum going. And sure enough, they bounced all over him that third end. And it was just little mental mistakes. The fact that it was just a little bit of a breakdown after the play kind of broke down. Everybody just lost their man on that first one. And then the fact that McDavid has that much open ice back door, I'm not sure how you can ever let that happen.
Yeah, the benefit the Canucks had last year is if they started to lose momentum, they could count on Markstrom to make a big save. Obviously not every night, but a big save for them last year did a really good job of turning that momentum around and kind of getting things to flow in their favor. And obviously just with the goaltending corps they have this year, it's not even, I don't want to say I haven't seen a highlight reel save from if one of the 6 guys on the ice isn't going to be able to build any momentum for you, then it's a hard way to play the game.
Yeah. I'll jump in and say someone who really killed momentum tonight. I thought Antoine Roussel was noticeably bad. I've noticed the past few games, but he had that weird play with Puljujarvi where he dropped 1 glove and gave him a bloody nose. That was weird. At first I thought Puljujarvi like fake dropped the gloves, but then after looking at it a few times, he wasn't even close to fighting.
Oh, we lost you there.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
All right, cool. I'll say it. I thought Puljujarvi fake dropped the gloves and kind of put Roussel in a tough spot, but then looking back at it, not so much. I think Roussel just lost lost his cool. And then the part that really kind of, I thought, swung the game for sure into the Oilers' hand was when he missed on that shorthanded breakaway. Like, I mean, you can't really blame him for that, but you hope to score there.
It's a nice moment. Yeah, and if there's one power play in the league, one set of guys right now that you don't want to give a power play to, might be maybe the Leafs number one, Mitch and Matthews right now, but
It really felt going into the third that it was the Canucks game to lose, and they lost it right away. That goal that came off the bat, you knew there was no salvaging anything, and then Oilers controlled the entire period right from the start.
And it was also disappointing at the end of the third to see, like, you know, at the end of the third, you kind of have this hope, like maybe Pedersen or Besser, someone will come through for the Canucks. And then Tyler Myers takes that penalty, and it's like, well, yes, it's just so disappointing to see that momentum come to a halt, and that fight till the end. And I was reading Alex Chason in his pregame interview said that like the Canucks are hard to play against, and that the Canucks are like, they have a really high like compete level, and to have that taken away, to have that advantage taken away by Tyler Myers taking a stupid penalty is just so disappointing from that team.
Yeah, I thought Tyler was really solid tonight before that too. So
yeah.
Dom.
oh, sorry, no.
Oh, I thought I cut you off.
No, you're good.
Thought Myers was good as well. Until then.
I don't know what to do now.
All right.
Yeah,
Go
I hate
ahead.
to see it, really.
Yeah, we'll try again next game.
All right, we're back. We figured we should probably talk about the state of the team because it may or may not be too late to make a playoff push. Dom, what should they do?
I mean, I think you've got to sell. You're selling.
Oh, what?
I think there's a couple of contracts that you can get off the books, and that's going to make negotiating some of the guys you need to lock up a little easier and create a little bit of space to do something this off season, because they are really locked up right now, and it's time to start not rebuilding. The rebuild's done. Let's not rebuild again, but retool a little bit and get some not like young prospects in the system, but some younger guys who are ready to kind of compete now in the next couple of years. And I think there's some teams around the league that are willing to take a flyer and give up a guy like that in order to get the services of some of the guys on the Canucks roster that could create or provide a bottom six role for a playoff team.
Yeah, I think retool is probably the right word. Guys like Sutter, Edler, Pearson all have at least a little bit of value, and even if it's a draft pick and maybe just a prospect, I think it's probably a wise decision to make use of those assets. While you still have them before they walk away in free agency, because I don't believe that they're going to be able to re-sign any of those guys with the Hughes and Pedersen contracts.
I mean, ideally, getting Louis off the books would be such a dream. I mean, you look at what the Bruins were able to do last year in getting David Backes off their books. That was a really similar contract. He was, I think, just under 7, locked up for a couple more years, and they really needed to clear that space to be able to move forward with their kind of retooling, and they had to kind of give up a decent young player in the process, and I think that might be something that's worth it. I don't know what exactly they'd have to give up to get that off the books, but I think that giving up a draft pick or retaining a tiny bit and giving up a younger prospect to try and get that off the books would be really helpful.
So what level of prospect was that for Backes last year in order to offload?
Well, he wasn't really a prospect. They had to move Danton Heinen as well to Anaheim. So kind of a young guy, like 22, 23 years old, who was kind of starting to develop into a top 6 role, hopefully, for the team.
So obviously Virtanen probably isn't that player, but maybe got at a second rounder and Louis to try to get the money off the books and take an expiring contract back?
Maybe something like that. I think we're onto something there. It's going to take a little bit, but I think that's ideally my goal for them, would to try and get rid of that rotten contract.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to do here, the biggest thing they need to focus on the rest of the year is getting Hughes and Pedersen signed, as well as Demko. Demko's also up at the end of the year, and that's kind of a sneaky contract no one's really talking about. As far as Louis, I don't see anyone in the league taking his contract. I think the best bet at getting him off is Seattle when they come in. They might be more willing to take a deal like that because they've got zero cap right now, right? So they might be looking for some money to get themselves over the floor. They might be able to take something like that. I think when they come in, it's going to be such a game changer as far as the whole league. I think every move you do from now till then, you need to think about that expansion draft coming up in mid-July, I think it is, or June.
How possible would it be to offload that contract? Like, when is like Seattle officially a franchise? Do they have to wait till the season's over before they would be able to make any deals with them, or could they offload Louis like during the season?
I don't think they can take like current players. I mean, that would be pretty savage to just send Louis to a team who's not even playing.
Has to go hang out in the Seattle hotel till the next season starts.
Yeah. I think Seattle becomes a team in the next like month actually, and they can start signing prospects and things like that. But as far as like active players and contracts, you got to wait till the off season. So I'm not sure, but I mean, realistically, the Canucks, I mean, you're not going to do anything with this money this year. So they're fine holding on to it at this point to the end of the year and then looking into that. But some of these other guys with 1 year left, you got Pearson, Virtanen, Gaudette, maybe Edler. I don't know if he'll want to leave, but you can look into that. Jordy Ben. I think you can find some value in there try to get something that's like a retool, but I think a short retool where you get someone that can help in the next 1 to 2 years. I think a draft pick is a little too far.
Yeah, someone who just fits into the right age range.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pearson has I think Pearson's probably their most valuable player that they'd be willing to part with. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. Just the way he plays is such a, and I mean, he's proved it in the playoffs too, with when he was with LA. He plays such the right style for a playoff team that he would really fit in well to a bottom six, and he can produce a little bit too, and maybe even slides in on a second power play unit on a good team as well as kind of a net front presence. Yeah, I think he's probably the most attractive player for a playoff team.
Yeah, and he's due for a raise, I'd say too. So I don't think he's gonna stick around for next season. So I'd get it off while you can, I guess.
That's a pretty cheap rental.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask, does you brought up Edler? Does he have a no move clause?
I believe so. And
yeah,
I mean, even if he didn't, I think that's one of those guys that you sort of respect. He's been around for so long that you try to make something work that he would want. But I think he said in the past that he's not really willing to move, right?
Right.
So that was just an idea. I don't think that would happen, but.
Well, what would his future in Vancouver even be? Like, if Vancouver decides that they want to move on from him and not re-sign him in the offseason, then he would have to be willing to listen to being moved to a team like Carolina or something who could use an extra defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be a similar situation to what Boston did with Chara last year, right? Like, it's going to be a tough breakup if that happens for sure. But if he's open for it, I really think it's up to. Actually, I don't know, because Chara was pushed out of Boston more so, right, Dom?
I mean, kind of. They told him that he was like, they wanted him there, but they told him it's time to kind of move on and let these young guys who have kind of been sitting in the wings waiting, it's time to let them develop and get this NHL playing time. And so he was going to be kind of the 6-7 guy and fill in, lower minutes. But and I don't think Edler's quite at that point. I mean, he's still only 34. Chara's a decade older than him, for goodness sakes. But what Chara did do was sign 1 year deals for those last like 4 contracts he signed there. I don't know if it was that many, but Edler might just start going one by one here. I don't know if he'll sign another multi-year deal, but I don't think he's ready to move on from Vancouver yet. That's definitely not the feeling.
Yeah, and God knows that the Canucks could always use an extra defenseman too. It's not like they're an embarrassment of riches at that position right now.
Yeah, and he's kind of reminiscent of Chara too, where it's like, yeah, he was kind of slowing down as when he gets older, obviously, but speed was never his game. He's always been able to be in good position and do other things well, despite not having the best speed. So I don't think he's really phased by kind of losing a step.
Yeah, well, he did get beat on that goal tonight. Well, maybe not necessarily beat, but it was around him, and it looked like the puck was kind of at his blade, and he couldn't quite get his stick on it, and it ended up going in. But
Yeah, I think COVID plays a big part into this too. He might not want to move this
Yeah.
year, but if you could potentially flip him this year, maybe to a Canadian team. I mean, Toronto's always looking for defensemen, and if he came back in the offseason, he still wants to be here, then sure. I might.
yeah, I can't
That's
complain.
not a bad idea. Look at that.
Look at us.
Who'd have
Jim, take
thought?
notes. All right, we're going to be back in just a moment with our Around the League segment. All right, we're back. So we wanted to bring a little bit of a Around the League segment in here because watching the Canucks is a little bit depressing right now, and they don't seem to be winning many games. Dom, I know you're a Bruins fan. How are the Bruins doing right now?
Well, the Bruins are buzzing. I mean, we're happy about that, coming off that big. Well, let's talk a little bit about what you guys think about the outdoor games this weekend.
Very, very nice.
I mean, that's
exciting
about-
venue.
Yeah, that's about as cool a scenery as you could ever possibly imagine. That's kind of one. I mean, obviously, you'd rather have fans at every game, but that's one thing that because of COVID, that has been a cool opportunity that came about.
Yeah,
I love
think if
the Bruins fits too.
Yeah, the '90s fits were awesome.
Yeah, that
That's
was that brought a little bit of personality to the game.
Yeah, you love to see that, the pasta with the Macho Man Randy Savage goggles, and then he goes out there and nets a Hattie. Whew.
that was,
That's beautiful to watch.
I think that was a great weekend all around. I mean, obviously, as far as the on ice situation, that couldn't have gone much worse, really, especially on Saturday. But they found a way to pull it together. I think it really helped grow the game as well, just as far as
Yeah.
seeing everyone, especially in the States, just the chatter it got. I mean, bringing Dusty Gooch out there was just beautiful.
Yeah. And they brought him
Name value
back
was off
Sunday.
the charts.
He brought him. They saw the how much Dusty Gooch blew up Saturday night, and they brought him back for a little surprise appearance Sunday.
Yeah, that was planned. But
For sure.
I think if they can find a way, obviously the NHL is never going to do something like that where they don't have fans again, just because it's such a gate-driven league. But if they can find a way, maybe to just fill fans on like the camera half, maybe throw 5,000-10,000 fans on that side in bleachers and still be able to have these games like at Lake Louise or Whistler or anywhere like that. I mean, I'm sure Minnesota, they've got a million lakes.
Yeah, I know
like that.
it's possible. They can bring in those mobile grandstands too, so they don't have to have any permanent structure set up either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
they
it
had
was
some
so great.
They had those extra camera angles too that were so cool. I mean, the scenery on that one McAvoy goal, the scenery with how like how the sun was kind of setting right then too. Oh my God. Oh, don't get me going.
You got yourself going there.
Yeah, I did get myself
That
going.
was none of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and that delay sucked, but that was pretty cool to have that late night hockey also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
it was
watching on
nice.
Saturday, and it was great to have a game essentially start at 9:00. We got a couple extra hours of puck in, so
Yeah.
and it ended up being a great game too. So
That's how the Eastern people feel every night. They get the late night West
must
Coast
be
game.
nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like being on the West, getting the 4:00 start. Anyways.
We need a like Hawaii team or something so we can get late night games too.
Yeah.
I love the late night games. I want more of them.
Yeah,
I moved to Ontario just for the late night games.
it is nice to be able to come home at 5:00 too. Though I guess I'm always home now, but it is nice to end the workday and just immediately have something to throw on while I start making dinner or something too.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of Lake Tahoe, I wanted to bring up a little bit about the Vegas Golden Knights because I've really been liking what I've been seeing from them. I got my little notebook here, lots of notes.
Swift.
So I immediately am thinking that Saturday game is probably going to be not a preview, obviously, because they can't meet in the Western Conference Finals, but essentially the whoever makes it out of that division between Colorado and Vegas, I think should be the Cup favorite. I know Toronto's been playing really, really well, but there's a couple of extremely elite teams with a little bit of room to add even more talent with Sidney Crosby rumors circling around the Avalanche. Dom, who do you like better, the Knights or the Avs?
Personally, I think I like the Knights a tiny bit better, just because of the experience and maybe a little bit more size. I think looking at the past few Stanley Cup winners and teams that have made those deep runs, that's been a big factor in the last few years. So I'm looking at that as the factor for why I think that Vegas has the slight edge, and the way that Fleury's playing right now, and the tandem that they have.
Yeah, Fleury has been absolutely unreal, and obviously Leonard has the ability to step up, as we saw last year in the playoffs. Fleury's numbers real quick. He is at a 94.2 save percent, 1.5 goals against average. He's 8-3 with 3 shutouts. I think he's an early Vezina favorite. His defense is doing him a lot of favors too, though. They're forcing tough shots, and I think Theodore is an early candidate to be a Norris finalist as well, next to Pietrangelo. I think Theodore has actually been a little bit better so far this year.
He's definitely taking the step up this season. That you saw him start that in the bubble, especially playing against Vancouver.
Yeah.
And he's taken that extra step as well.
But
Yeah,
I think Vic thinks that the Avs might be a little bit better, because I saw your little face over there as I said Vegas had the tiny edge. So why do you think the Avs have the edge?
It's so close for me. I know I made that face and then I took it back because I was like, no, I actually agree with them. And then I might be back on the other side. I think the Avs have the best forward in McKinnon. Yeah. I think they have the best defenseman in Makar. I think the Knights have the best goalie. So I don't know. The depth, I might lean Vegas as well. So I think it's just such a close. So I think that's definitely going 7, which means it won't go 7. But yeah, that's like that should be a Stanley Cup matchup that can happen.
So right now you think Makar is better than Pietrangelo or Theodore?
I do. Yeah. I think he's just so smooth. So I don't know. You don't see him make a lot of mistakes out there. And I guess same with the other guys, but yeah.
It's definitely an argument to be had. Maybe we'll dedicate a little bit more research to this topic, and we can really go at each other's throats another day. But I'm on board with what Dom is saying. I like the Knights a lot. I think they probably have a little bit of an edge. Avs obviously have a little bit more refined top end talent, but the experience of being there, the bruising mentality, the bottom 6 up front, is really nice for the Knights. I know how much trouble Reeves gave the Canucks last year. And their defensive core is super solid. They have like 7 or 8 guys that can play any night, and their top 2 guys, Pietrangelo and Theodore, obviously, like I was saying, just nasty stuff from those 2 guys.
Just nasty.
Yeah, and when you have one of those 2 on the ice for literally the whole game, I'm sorry, Robin, but
no, go ahead.
Those 2 guys, like if you split them up, you have one on the ice the entire game, and there you go.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I always come into this with opinions, and then like with opinions that I think are like really well formed, and then you guys start talking for like 5 seconds and I'm like, man, that makes so much sense. Like,
yeah, what do I know? As
a newer hockey fan, I'm also learning here, but I personally think the Knights are better. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay,
that's my take.
What is your basis for that thinking?
My basis for that thinking is I looked at the standings earlier, and yep.
Numbers don't lie.
Facts.
Numbers don't lie. That's just facts.
Can you edit research steps graphic in behind me? Just so we can go through all the lengths that Robin went to bring us that shocking information.
NHL.com.
Well, you know what? Like there's things that I could say, but like you guys say them and they make so much more sense than if I would say them, because I don't know how to say things. But you guys literally, you say
not great for a broadcasting student.
Better. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. For the record, for everyone watching, we've been talking about this, but I have been up since 4 a.m. and doing live radio at BCIT. So
And it's now
my work
10:20
not
p.m.
coming very well tonight.
Yeah, it's
She's
10:18
been
p.m.
grinding.
Yes, I've been
Mad
grinding.
respect.
No.
Yeah, BCIT is hard, kids.
Mhm.
Don't go.
No,
Yeah.
Jeez, Victor.
Go somewhere else.
So, Robin,
go wherever you want.
well, we hopped all over those takes. We beat the takes down. We didn't even give you a chance on that one. So let's kick it around somewhere else around the league. Who's another team or player even that's really impressed you this year?
I'm not ready to talk about a team that's impressed me, but I do want to say that the Dallas Stars, ever since they posted that message saying that they would be playing the national anthem at all their games, like who asked? They've lost every game since then. And I fully believe that the Dallas Stars being like weirdly aggressive on Twitter is completely the basis for them being absolute garbage. And on that note, no more playing national anthems at NHL games. And yeah.
Hey, again, the research and the numbers didn't lie.
The numbers don't lie, baby.
You're just spitting straight facts. They have not won since then.
Yep.
They are
It's very
cold
true.
as ice.
Yep.
So I'm assuming the tweet was in response to Mark Cuban's Dallas Mavericks, like being outed that they were not playing the national anthem before their game. And because obviously they play in the same city, the Stars were like, hey, like, let's get all the Patriots on our side, which is totally fair. You know, I've got an American flag behind me. My dad's American. You know, nations and countries and stuff, right? It's great for the mind.
Borders.
Yeah.
You say hoarders or borders?
Yes. All right.
All right, folks. We're gonna come right back with the spice rack because that is the name of that segment still, and you can't change it. All right, welcome back. This is the spice rack, and yes, that is still the name of the segment. We have not moved on. Victor, do you want to open it up and bring us your spiciest take?
Give it to Dom.
Wait, who's Dom?
Give it to Dom.
Give it to Robin. Pass the rock. We're a big pass the rock pod. Keep it moving.
The Dallas Stars are bad.
Okay, passing the rock on again. All right, so I'm gonna go, and this take is directed at John Shorthouse.
Oh,
not for anything
40.
he's done wrong. I think he's done a great job. But John, those budget auto center commercials you're in are really, really bad. And I know I'm just a lowly broadcast journalism student, but one of the higher ups at Budget, if you're listening to this, I guarantee the 4 people on this podcast could create a monumentally better and more immersive commercial experience for you to be a part of. For instance, we could have John driving into and meeting the mechanics and having an interactive experience with them, showing the customers what it's actually like to be in there, as opposed to these very stagnant interview-based commercials that no one likes. And then John is standing in front of a green screen. He's not even there.
Zach, is this a
Commercial
pitch
sucks.
meeting? Is this a pitch meeting right now?
I don't care what it is. I'm saying the commercial sucks. And I will have to watch it like 12 times a game. And I don't know why, but as soon as I hear that budget auto center, my eyes are glued to the screen. It's the only thing I can pay attention to, and I hate it. And I would like to move on. There's another era out there for Budget. I just give me a call. I'm right here.
It's a national treasure. Just keep it.
It works because you're talking about it.
Yep.
That's marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They just got you and you didn't even know it.
That's capitalism, baby.
Where are you going to go next time you need your brakes and mufflers?
I don't know. Okay Tire. My local and single owned mechanic who I know and trust. Not some corporation with multiple venues. Anyways, Budget, I have nothing against you. Just like I said, give me a call. I'm right here. Okay, somebody else go.
Vicky Hot Takes, what do you got?
No, mine.
No, you guys.
Mine leads into what you are talking about, so I need you to go.
Mine?
Almost like
Me?
Jackie
Yeah.
Moon trying to post up and passing out again.
What I was talking about.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Just go.
I didn't even tell you what I was gonna say yet.
I thought you did.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. Okay, do you want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
All right, fine. I thought you were going to talk about Jeff Skinner and how overpaid he is.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, well, Jeff Skinner is overpaid and he's getting healthy scratch and everything like that. But I think he's the second worst contract in the NHL.
Oh,
Erik Karlsson is making $11.5 million until 2027.
true.
And he has 4 points in 13 games, which is better than Jeff Skinner.
He is hurt
But
right now.
he's been hurt since before he signed that contract. Why did they sign that contract?
And also, 2 of those points are on the power play.
Probably secondary assist too.
Analytics.
I don't know. That is going to hurt the Sharks for a long time.
Yeah, he just fell off a cliff. Like, what happened?
The steepest cliff.
The steepest cliff.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say, but that
Like,
is
it's
insane.
sad. Like, it's sad to see from someone who was such an incredible figure in Ottawa for so long and was so loved and so admired by everyone there. And then it felt like there was this like new beginning and all this new potential for him in San Jose, and he's just completely fallen off, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean-
true, Vic. We didn't even think about him when we were talking about the worst contracts because everything
Oh.
that happens in San Jose is so low key. Like,
I've been keeping
Right.
it to myself.
you don't even think, oh, yeah, that's why you didn't talk about it. You just been
Yeah.
saving it. You didn't
Yeah.
want me to steal the tape.
But yeah, I mean, we can also talk about just how bad Buffalo is. And Taylor Hall is going to get traded again.
Yeah.
And just the annual cycle of Taylor Hall getting traded. Should the Canucks pick him up? Probably not, but I wonder where he'll go. Jeff Skinner won't get traded, tell you that.
Erik Karlsson's not going to trade. I'll tell you that too.
Definitely not.
Maybe can we work out a Skinner for Karlsson deal? Maybe.
1 for 1. Yeah, just do it.
Maybe.
not?
That's.
I'm a big 1 for 1 fan.
I bet you Karlsson would make a great mentor for Rasmus Dahlin in Buffalo. He could
Maybe.
teach him how to make money and how to scam franchises. 'Cause that's exactly what he did.
I can see some Couture, Hurdle, Hall. Wait, no, we're talking about Skinner.
Skinner.
Late
Is
night,
Taylor
folks.
Hall? Everyone was talking about last year how Taylor Hall was a lock to go to Colorado. Is he going there this year? Tell me why not.
They have the cap space.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? The only reason why not would be just because of, I guess, just his track record recently. Maybe it's just because not the best teams are trading for him. I mean, he made it work in New Jersey, but at the end of the day, they only had that one decent year where they kind of snuck in and made a little bit of noise.
On
But
his
other than
back.
that, they didn't have a good roster there. And then he ends up getting traded to Arizona. Not a great roster to work with there. Now not a great roster to work with in Buffalo. But at the same time, at some point, he's got to drive the ship when you're making that much money. And he's never really stepped up and been that guy after a trade.
No, not at all. Maybe this is who he is. I don't know. Going in the offseason, we thought he was the $10 million guy. Maybe that ship sailed. He's more of a Jeff Skinner.
Not a guy you want to be mentioned in
Not.
the same sentence as right now.
All right, Dom, you're up.
You want me to cook something up on the spice rack?
You told me you had some.
You know what?
I told you your one job is to have a spice rack take.
Yeah, no, I'm going to tell you right now. I think the LA Kings are making the playoffs this year.
Ooh.
I've for some reason been watching their games lately. I don't know why. And I just like the mix of the way I like the way their team's been playing, first of all. And I just like the way their team's kind of made up. They got a nice little mix of young guys who were kind of low-key prospects who have kind of slowly grown in their system. It seems like they usually have a pretty good AHL system. They do a good job of, in those years when they were doing well, of kind of drafting. They got good practice drafting depth spots and picking out later round players. I think they've got a good scouting team there. And guys like Alex Iafallo, Adrian Kempe, this Gabe Velarde, these are guys that didn't really light it up in juniors really and kind of have made a name for themselves in the AHL over the last couple of years and are mixing in well right now with guys, older guys who are playing probably better than they should be right now. Dustin Brown is their leading goal scorer with 10. I mean, and Kopitar, you know what he brings to the table. And Jeff Carter is still getting it done, still a threat on the power play. Maybe he loses that step in the defensive zone, and doesn't kind of play the wrecking ball game that Dustin Brown does, or the PK minutes. But Jeff Carter is still producing a little bit as well, and they've got a bottom six that just works hard. And Doughty's he's still a superstar, and he doesn't ever really get talked about much, I feel like, but he's just low key, just a workhorse every night, and doesn't mind mixing it up too, as we saw last year. All the drama with Kachuk, we see it when he's in the mix with Canadian teams, but he's kind of low key being in LA. We don't see him as much, but every night in and out, you know what you're getting from him, and goaltending as well. I can go on about the Kings. Holy, do I like the Kings?
Are you a Kings fan?
This Cal Peterson, man, this kid's been grinding in the A the last couple of years too, and he's kind of stolen the starting job from Johnny Quick, who can still, bring it every once in a while. He's not the goalie he used to be, but if he can still bring his old game every once in a while in that backup role, that's going to be unreal, because this Peterson kid is able to take the reins right now.
Yeah, Dom, I think that's a pretty good take. They've won 5 in a row. Dustin Brown is having, for some reason, the best year of his entire career right now. And it doesn't really seem like anyone at the bottom of that division is going to want or have the ability to make a run between Arizona, San Jose, Colorado, or not Colorado, that's the wrong team, Anaheim or Minnesota. I honestly think they're at least the fourth most talented team in that division, and they're actually buzzing right now.
I think they're going to be in a tight battle with Arizona for the last spot. That's my prediction. And I'm going to stick with the theme of just kind of the way teams play that I like for playoff rounds this year. And I just think that LA's got kind of more of that build that I've been talking about, with the kind of more gritty guys and the playoff style. Whereas Arizona's kind of a younger team who's kind of trying to play a more flashy game with kind of the young line they put together. And I like the Kings a little bit more right now.
Yeah. That's not a team you want to play in the playoffs too in the first round. They've got so many experienced guys heading back to their dynasty in the early 2010s, right? They're going to be tough to play.
They've won 5 in a row right now, so I could just be jumping on the ship at the worst time for this take to just take off the other way and lose 5 in a row.
Yeah. Since you're talking about them, they might as well just blow it up now, because it's already over.
But no, yeah, I think they'll stay hot. They'll make the playoffs in that 4th spot.
All right, everybody, that was Spice Rack, and yes, that is still the name of the segment. Thanks for listening very much to the West Georgia Report. I'm going to leave you with fair warning on the way out.
What they say to me.